So the Daggerheart playtest is out, and I'm excited, and I want to do a review, but this is not that video. If you want a good, solid Daggerheart review like I did recently for the new version of Dungeons & Dragons, let me know in the comments, and I will do that review video. I've already talked to a friend of mine about maybe doing a collaboration on a review video, because I do want to dive in and I want to understand this game more. But I was taken aback, surprised, if you will, by the love-hate reaction that Daggerheart got. So this video is more a commentary on our community as gamers and as the RPG hobby space. And I know it's the internet. I probably shouldn't have been surprised by that. But I was taken aback by the intense reaction where people either really love the game or people really hated the game. And of course, when that happens, arguments ensue. I don't know if you're familiar with the term fantasy heartbreaker, but that's the term we used to use to describe these new games that would come out, and people would be, I don't know, get their hopes up. That was part of the fantasy. And then be disappointed when it didn't become the next version of D&D. Heartbreaker. Now, a lot of times, those fantasy heartbreakers were really nothing more than hacks. Like, not like hack in a negative way, but hacks like Eldritch Hack and Black Hack and White Hack and some of the different OSR games specifically call themselves a hack. But we have these two parallel processes going on where while the OSR embraces the idea of a hack and these rules-light games that are all very similar to each other, the other side of the hobby, the people who are more familiar with 5th edition and are more familiar with playing, games made by larger companies, they're expecting something different when they buy a new game. They're expecting a whole new game. And now I think the term heartbreaker starts to apply more towards the audience than the creators. The difference is back then, the internet was nowhere near as ubiquitous as it is now. And the term fantasy heartbreaker was coined long before crowdfunding or Kickstarter was even a concept. So I think what we're experiencing these days is the heartbreak part is not on the individual who creates the game, because they can make their money. They can make their game and get it published and get it out there, and some people are going to love it. And with the help of crowdfunding, you can have a decent amount of success. Far better than you could back in the days of zines. Those days, it was really hard to gain traction and to get your game out there in front of people who are going to enjoy it. But nowadays, these games can gain a quick following and make a decent amount of money right out of the gate. But like I said, I think the heartbreak lands on the fans when this thing that they like, they support, they get into, doesn't take off. It doesn't become the next D&D. It's not the D&D killer that they want it to be. So I think a lot of people are experiencing a real cognitive dissonance right now. I don't have to explain to you how bad last year was. 2023 and the OGL and all those things made everybody really want to not like Dungeons & Dragons, the Wizards of the Coast version of D&D. People want to not like it. The problem is, it's the game they've been playing for almost 10 years, and they do like it. So while they don't want to like it, they still enjoy playing it. So they want something that's going to take D&D's place. They want that D&D killer that's going to remove Wizards of the Coast from their lives and give them a fresh, new experience that still feels like D&D. And that's a hard place to land for any game, to find a way to feel like D&D without being a D&D clone. And that's the sweet spot that Daggerheart is trying to stab, if you will. They're trying to land in that spot where they are not D&D, but they're still D&D. They're not Dungeons and Dragons, but they're still D&D. I think Black Flag, aka Tales of the Valiant, is a perfect example of people getting their hopes up and then getting their heart broken. When Black Flag first came out, I know a lot of people were really excited for it to be an alternative to D&D. And it absolutely still is an alternative to D&D. It's just, I mean, Black Flag, I even bought the t-shirt. I went to try to find it to wear it for this video, and it had shrunk in the wash and didn't fit. That's probably a metaphor there. A lot of people believed Black Flag was going to be this great new game, and it turned out to just be another version of 5e. And I think that disappointed a lot of people for all the reasons we just talked about. It just wasn't different enough to feel like a replacement. Now, Level Up Advanced 5e came out before the OGL debacle, but it came out being exactly as advertised. They knew what they were doing, and they were very clear with their intent. It's just 5e, but better. And no one expected Level Up Advanced 5e to be a D&D killer. But that was, like I said, before the OGL debacle. Now that everybody is angry at Wizards of the Coast, they want somebody to dethrone Dungeons and Dragons. But I'm not trying to convince you to go back to playing 5th edition. If you left Dungeons and Dragons because you have firm beliefs against Wizards of the Coast, that's fine. That's your choice. I fully support your decision to not play 5th edition. Or if your decision was to continue to play 5th edition but not give your money to Wizards of the Coast, there's plenty of ways to do that. There's so many third-party 5th edition products available that you never have to buy a Wizards of the Coast product again, and you can continue to play 5th edition. And if that solves the problem for you, that's fantastic. But I think, at least my diagnosis of the current mood of our community is they are still really struggling with that cognitive dissonance of not being able to get the thing that they really want, which is D&D, without supporting Wizards of the Coast. They want a good, solid reason to stand up to the man and play a new game. And I'm here to say that it's okay to face that discomfort. It's okay to sit in that cognitive dissonance and feel off, awkward, odd, out of place, because that's a place where you can grow from. When we disconnect from the thing we're familiar with, when we upset our thinking and challenge ourselves to try something different, to try something new, that's when we get the opportunity to grow and develop and stretch our minds and expand our imaginations and really explore the opportunities. Ken Wilber says it this way: there are 3 stages of human development: fusion, rejection, and integration. And throughout various times in your life, you are going to encounter new ideas, and you are going to think they are the greatest thing since sliced bread. They are fantastic. I love this thing. All about it. I'm going to tell everybody how cool this is. I'm going to share this new idea, and I get excited. And that's the beauty of going online and being a part of a community, because when you find this new idea, you can find other people who are also a part of that excitement. But Ken Wilber goes on to say, you will only stay fused with that new idea for so long, because that new idea only does so much for you. It doesn't give you everything you need. So eventually, you will reject that new thing because it doesn't serve you as well as you thought it did. And that visceral reaction we have when we get disappointed by the new thing we thought was so great, that visceral reaction pushes us away. And that's not a bad thing, to be pushed away by this gut reaction that says there needs to be more here. That's a good thing. And that rejection compels us to the third stage in the process, integration. And integration is where we take the old rejected ideas, those ideas that used to be new, that we used to be fused with, and we used to love, but were then disappointed by when they didn't live up to their potential. Those old ideas now get taken apart, repackaged, and digested into something more useful, integrated into a new way of thinking that actually allows us to expand and grow into a new, more complete, more capable version of ourselves. So let me bring this back to tabletop RPGs. Right now, in our community in 2024, in the wake of the OGL debacle and all the things that went wrong in 2023, this is an opportunity for you to discover new things. And I'm not here to sell you on Daggerheart. I'm here to encourage integration of ideas, to inspire a healthy design space where we as a community incorporate ideas from various game designers and various games. And the only way to do that is to try and play new games. Don't be afraid to try something new. You don't need a justification to say, I want to take a break from 5th edition. You don't need a justification to say, yeah, I really don't like Dungeons & Dragons. That's okay. You can like what you like regardless of what other people think. And I encourage you, play the games you want to play. Learn from every game that you do play, even the ones that you don't like. Learn from them and integrate fresh ideas and new thoughts and expand your horizons in our great hobby. I'm Brad Wolf. Thanks again for watching Dire Den, and I'll see you next time.